In the first duel on Mount Hua, 5 of the greatest warriors from across the martial world, Western Poison Ouyang Feng, Southern Emperor Duanji Xing, Northern Beggar Hong Qigong, Central Divine Wang Chongyang, and Eastern Heretic Huang Yaoshi fought for 7 days and 7 nights on Mount Hua for the legendary Nine Yin Manual. The battle was ultimately won by the great warrior Wang Chongyang, who was then dubbed the world's #1 warrior. However, shortly afterward, news of Wang Chongyang's death spread. Ouyang Feng, the Western Poison, visited his tomb to steal the Nine Yin Manual. When the box was opened, Wang Chongyang, still alive, attacked Ouyang Feng and successfully repelled him. 20 years later, a simple young man named Guo Jing was on his way to the city. On his way, he encountered his 7 masters, who then tested him with a series of attacks. Guo Jing's masters were investigating a kidnapping case involving babies used as sacrifices for heretical practices. They suspected the perpetrators were the Bai Tuo sect, led by Ouyang Feng. In a tavern, Guo Jing meets a clever and witty thief named Huang Rong, who turns out to be the only daughter of the Eastern heretic Wang Yaoshi, the ruler of Peach Blossom Island. Shortly after, 2 girls from the Bai Tuo sect appeared and caused trouble. A fight broke out between Guo Jing and the 2 girls. Huang Rong appeared and immediately helped Guo Jing defeat the 2 girls. After the 2 girls left, Guo Jing immediately thanked Huang Rong for saving his life. In return, Guo Jing treated her to whatever meal she wanted. Elsewhere, Ouyang Feng, the nephew of West Venom Ouyang Feng, orders his men to steal a baby boy. Meanwhile, Guo Jing's masters discover the baby's charred bones. They believe this cruel method was carried out by members of the Bai Tuo sect, led by Ouyang Feng, Ouyang Feng's nephew. Guo Jing met Huang Rong, the thief known as Rongar. Guo Jing asked her why. Given her intelligence, Rongar became a thief. Rongar explained that her father wanted her to marry, but because she wasn't ready, she ran away from home. Unfortunately, along the way, her allowance was stolen, forcing her to live as she did now. Hearing this story, Guo Jing felt sorry for her. He then gave her all the money he had. Furthermore, Guo Jing also gave her his robe and horse. This gesture deeply moved Rongar. In broad daylight, 2 girls from Baitul Mountain were stealing babies. Guo Jing, witnessing the incident, immediately rushed to give chase. When one of the girls was cornered, she gave Guo Jing a bag. Unfortunately, Guo Jing was fooled as the bag contained no babies. Guo Jing then asked Huang Rong for the location of the inn where the people from Baitul Mountain were staying, as he wanted to rescue the babies. However, because the people at the inn possessed extremely high martial arts skills, Huang Rong suggested they disguise themselves as guests. Eventually, they agreed to meet again that night. Night fell. While Guo Jing was searching for Rongar, a hand suddenly grabbed him. Guo Jing was shocked to see that Rongar was a woman, as he had previously thought she was a man. The 2 of them then secretly followed a girl carrying a baby. The trail led them into a cave. As soon as the opportunity arose, Guo Jing immediately grabbed the baby. Suddenly, a giant snake appeared and devoured the girl. Afterward, the snake chased Guo Jing and wrapped itself around him. Huang Rong immediately helped him escape the giant snake's coils. Huang Rong then acted as bait so Guo Jing could stab the snake's eye. Once the snake's eye was successfully stabbed and weakened, they quickly exited the cave. At the banquet, Ouyang Feng was happily dancing with the girls when Guo Jing's 6 teachers suddenly appeared, intending to arrest the baby thieves. This frightened all the guests. The teachers were furious, claiming that this act had dishonored the martial arts world. Shortly afterward, Ouyang Feng appeared, accompanied by a gust of strong wind, and immediately attacked one of the teachers. However, Huang Rong quickly stopped him with her signature move, the divine flicking finger. The attack shocked Ouyang Feng, who recognized Huang Rong as the daughter of Yaoshi, the ruler of Peach Blossom Island. Her disguise blown and unable to resist Ouyang Feng, Huang Rong quickly left the venue, followed by Guo Jing's teachers and Guo Jing. Guo Jing's 6 masters pursued Huang Rong and attacked her. However, Guo Jing quickly stopped them. One of the masters then explained that they and Huang Yamushi had a deep grudge because their 5th master was killed by Mei Chao Feng and Chen Xuanfeng, Huang Yaoshi's disciples. You can see this story in the 9 Yin True Sutra video series discussed on this channel. Because of this grudge, they intended to kill Huang Rong to avenge their friend's death. Unexpectedly, Guo Jing willingly prostrated himself and begged them not to kill Huang Rong. He even expressed his willingness to die in her stead. The disappointed master ultimately let Guo Jing choose. In the end, they chose to leave Guo Jing. Guo Jing and Huang Rong rested at a temple. However, Guo Jing was still plagued by guilt for hurting his teachers. Therefore, Huang Rong tried to console him by giving him a roast chicken. Unexpectedly, the chicken was suddenly snatched away by someone in a lightning-fast movement. Huang Rong then realized it was northern beggar Hong Qigong, one of the 5 great masters and the grand leader of the beggars clan. For Huang Rong, it was an honor for Hong Qigong to eat her roast chicken. Huang Rong then introduced herself as Huang Yaoshi's daughter and made a deal with Hong Qigong. She would cook delicious meals every day, as long as Hong Qigong would teach Guo Jing martial arts. At first, Hong Qigong refused the offer and simply left. However, Huang Rong was persistent. She provoked Hong Qigong by telling him that there was only one person capable of defeating her father, someone who had mastered the dragon style. Because Huang Rong's pronunciation was incomplete, Hong Qigong became irritated and finally revealed his true move, the 18 Dragon-Subduing Palms. Hearing that Huang Yaoshi himself acknowledged the prowess of his move, Hong Qigong was greatly honored. He finally agreed to teach it to Guo Jing. Days passed, and Huang Rong cooked for Hong Qigong every day. In return, Hong Qigong began teaching Guo Jing the 18 Dragon-Subduing Palms. However, Hong Qigong only taught him up to the 15th form, as he believed Guo Jing wouldn't have enough time to learn the remaining 3. Hong Qigong informed that Ouyang Feng and his nephew, Ouyang Feng, were going to Peach Blossom Island to propose marriage to Huang Rong. However, Hong Qigong suspected that Ouyang Feng's true intentions were not for Huang Rong, but rather for the Nine Yin Manual. Upon hearing this, Huang Rong decided to return home to stop them. Guo Jing accompanied Huang Rong home. Before leaving, Huang Rong told Guo Jing that her father, Huang Yaoshi, was extremely strange. Anyone who entered the island without permission would get lost and trapped in an illusion formation, possibly even losing their lives. She asked Guo Jing to stay close to her to avoid getting lost. Soon afterward, the two of them set off for Peach Blossom Island. Upon arriving at the island, they heard the sound of a flute, which made Guo Jing dizzy. Huang Rong explained that the sound was her father's Song of the Azure Sea, played with internal energy. Huang Rong then instructed Guo Jing to fight it with internal energy. However, Guo Jing's internal energy wasn't strong enough, and he ended up in an illusionary world, becoming disoriented. Upon awakening, Guo Jing found himself in a cave and met a strange man who liked to talk to himself. He turned out to be Zhou Botong, the younger brother of Divine Central Wang Chongyang, the victor of the Duel on Mount Hua. He had been held captive in the cave for years by Huang Yaoshi. Zhou Botong then recounted the events of 15 years ago concerning the Nine Yin scripture. He said that Huang Yaoshi had asked him to show the scripture to his wife, who possessed extraordinary memorization abilities. Since Huang's wife lacked martial arts skills, Zhou gave her the second volume of the scripture. After Huang's wife read it, she made a copy of the Nine Yin scripture. Overexerting herself, his pregnant wife died after giving birth. Guo Jing, uninterested in the story, stated that he had to leave immediately to stop Ouyang Feng from proposing to Huang Rong. Zhou Botong suspected that Ouyang Feng's real goal was to steal the Nine Yin scripture. Upon hearing this, Guo Jing suggested that it would be better to burn the scripture than to fight over it, which would only lead to bloodshed. Zhou Botong agreed, but first he asked Guo Jing to memorize the contents of the scripture. He believed Guo Jing needed to master the scriptures if he wanted to escape the cave and defeat Huang Yaoshi's illusion formation. Elsewhere, Ouyang Feng and Ouyang Ke were on their way to Peach Blossom Island. They heard Huang Yaoshi's flute playing. Ouyang Feng immediately used his powers to counteract the flute's sound. Finally, Huang Yaoshi stopped playing mid-song, signifying his approval of their visit to Peach Blossom Island. Meanwhile, Guo Jing, who had memorized and studied the Nine Yin scripture, was no longer bothered by the flute sound. He thanked Zhou Botong for his help and then exited the cave. Finally, Ouyang Feng arrived and immediately presented a gift to Huang Rong. However, when Huang Rong was about to accept it, she instead made a move to harm Ouyang Ke. Huang Yaoshi quickly thwarted her attempt and reprimanded her. Shortly, Guo Jing arrived and stopped the proposal. Huang Yaoshi was surprised, as no one had been able to break out of his formation. Suddenly, Qigong appeared before them all. He also expressed his intention to propose to Huang Rong in marriage to Guo Jing. Since there were two suitors, Huang Yaoshi decided to hold a match to determine who would win his daughter. Finally, the match began, with Guo Jing facing Ouyang Feng and Qigong facing Ouyang Ke. Guo Jing actually emerged victorious, but because he had left the arena, Huang Yaoshi considered the match a draw. Therefore, Huang Yaoshi proceeded to the second round of matches. Meanwhile, Zhou Botong was seen burning his Nine Yin scripture. This time, Guo Jing and Ouyang Ke had to memorize a book written by his late wife before her death. He gave them half an hour to memorize it. Afterward, they both came forward to recite as much of what they had memorized as possible. Shortly afterward, Huang Yaoshi announced that Guo Jing had won the second round. This automatically made Guo Jing Huang Yaoshi's son-in-law. Huang then explained that the book they had just memorized was the second volume of the Nine Yin scripture, copied by his late wife. Everyone was shocked to hear this. Finally, Ouyang Feng accepted defeat. However, Huang Yaoshi, curious about Guo Jing's ability to memorize the Nine Yin scripture, immediately went to the cave where Zhou Botong was being held. He was shocked to find the Nine Yin scripture burned, and Zhou Botong was no longer inside. He was even more shocked to find the first volume of the scripture, which he had never possessed. This meant Guo Jing had mastered the complete Nine Yin scripture. Meanwhile, Ouyang Feng was making poison while contemplating how to seize the Nine Yin scripture, which was now in Guo Jing's memory. Then, his subordinate arrived and informed him that Guo Jing's teachers were on their way to the island. Hearing this, Ouyang Feng had an idea to continue his actions. On the other hand, Guo Jing was still thinking about his 6 teachers whom he had disappointed. However, as usual, Huang Rong comforted him to keep him from being sad. That evening, Ouyang Feng went to Hong Qigong to congratulate him on his victory. He then offered him a drink as a sign of respect. Hong Qigong accepted it and then pretended to be poisoned after drinking it. Unexpectedly, Ouyang Feng attacked him, staining his hand with poison, rendering him unconscious. Elsewhere, Guo Jing's teachers had already set foot on the island. Unexpectedly, Ouyang Feng arrived and immediately attacked them, killing all of them, leaving only the blind first teachers standing. Meanwhile, Wang Yaoshi was visiting his wife's grave and recounting everything that had happened. Elsewhere, Guo Jing and Huang Rong, hearing the sound of the flute, rushed to see what was happening. However, Guo Jing was shocked to discover that his teachers were dead. He went to his blind first teacher and was told that Wang Yaoshi had done it all. Huang Rong, upon hearing this, was suspicious as she recognized the flute's melody was different from the one her father had played. Unfortunately, Guo Jing ignored it and immediately left Huang Rong to seek revenge on Wang Yaoshi. Without further ado, he attacked. However, Guo Jing was clearly no match for Huang Yaoshi, and he was nearly defeated by Huang's divine flicking finger technique. At that moment, Ouyang Feng suddenly arrived and attacked Huang Yaoshi. He then carried away the injured Guo Jing. Guo Jing finally learned that it was not Huang Yaoshi who killed his teachers, but Ouyang Feng. Ouyang Feng then forced Guo Jing to recite the Nine Yin scripture using Huang Rong as a hostage, while Ouyang Ke copied the scripture. After finishing, Ouyang Feng intended to kill Guo Jing. However, his attempt was thwarted by Zhou Botong, who came to Guo Jing and Huang Rong's rescue. Days passed. Huang Rong faithfully cared for Guo Jing. When Guo Jing regained consciousness, Huang Rong told him to forget everything that had happened. However, Guo Jing intended to go to Mount Hua to fight Ouyang Feng. Shortly afterward, Hung Qigong arrived and taught him the final 3 moves of the 18 Dragon-Subduing Palms in preparation for the duel on Mount Hua. After training, Guo Jing and Huang Rong departed for Mount Hua, accompanied by Hung Qigong. Upon arrival, Hung Qigong showed Guo Jing the palm prints left by Yang during the Great Battle 20 years earlier on Mount Hua. Shortly afterward, Huang Yaoshi arrived, followed by Ouyang Feng. The battle began, with Guo Jing facing Ouyang Feng. However, Ouyang Feng was surprised to find that he couldn't defeat Guo Jing despite having studied the Nine Yin scripture. Upon hearing this, Huang Rong revealed that Guo Jing had been reciting the Nine Yin scripture backwards. Ouyang Feng, upon hearing this, became enraged. His anger disrupted his nervous system, leading to memory loss. Despite this, his strength remained undiminished. He even managed to knock everyone back. Ouyang Feng then mercilessly beat Guo Jing, rendering him helpless. However, Guo Jing rose and countered with the 18 Dragon-Subduing Palms, ultimately defeating Ouyang Feng. In the marketplace, a doll seller recounted the story of Guo Jing's undefeated warrior. At the end of the story, Guo Jing became a beloved warrior and Huang Rong was always by his side. However, several years later, the pair were killed defending Xiangyang from a Mongol attack. You can see the story of Guo Jing and Huang Rong defending Xiangyang from the Mongol invasion in the video Legend of the Condor Heroes, The Gallant. I've included the link to this video in the description. Thus concludes the story of Guo Jing and Huang Rong in the Legend of the Condor Heroes, The Dragon Tamer. From an innocent youth, Guo Jing grows into a great warrior who masters the legendary 18 palms of the Dragon Tamer. However, Guo Jing's journey does not end there. After his death, the great story of the Guo family continues through the next generation. From the carefully guarded secret of the Nine Yin scripture, a thread is born, leading to the second story in the Condor Heroes trilogy, Return of the Condor Heroes, which tells the journey of young Guo Jing's disciple and nephew. And far in the future, Guo Jing and Huang Rong's legacy once again shakes the martial arts world in the third story, Heaven Sword and Dragon Sabre. It is there that the secrets of the Heaven Sword and Dragon Sabre are revealed, revealing the legacy Guo Jing hid to safeguard the future of the Han nation. The story of Guo Jing and Huang Rong is the beginning of a great legend created by Jin Yong, one that will live on for generations in the martial arts world. You can find more detailed information about the Condor Trilogy in the description, where I have included links to related videos to make it easier for you to find them. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, turn on the notification bell, share your thoughts in the comments, and of course, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on other exciting stories from the martial arts world. See you in the next video.